So status. We've identified over 60 companies already in the area that fit into the 11 Cleantech vertical markets. And yet, there is no local or regional Cleantech business alliance, or it's not self-organized, in other words. So we see that as an opportunity to be tackled. And at the moment, there's limited state or regional programs generally for promoting this. Other states, other regions are much more organized about this, and that's where we really need to get out of the starting blocks. I'll just mention a few of the Cleantech examples that I quickly went through and tried to categorize them. Algonomics, and when Bard moves here, Bard will fit into the energy generation, energy storage, of oil to make these portable solar generators. I just quickly looked, I'm talking about 30 minutes of searching in terms of smart grid, just smart grid. There are 2 smart grid technology companies here in town. That's amazing. I mean, smart grid is going to be one of the hottest. In fact, infrastructure and efficiency is the hottest segment of Cleantech right now. Efficiency, this may not be the perfect example, but this little company builds extremely efficient homes. But that's something that technology is something that's scalable to larger buildings. Load Match, who do logistics. Just an incredible story about using technology to fill empty containers heading back to the port. So technology to match up empty containers so that they're never traveling empty back to the port or to their origin. Clean Marine, which you may have heard about, cleaning up wastewater from cleaning boats. And there's a whole bunch. I mean, biocomposites, very, very interesting. Tissue bioengineering fits into the materials or bio side of Cleantech. There's a whole bunch. This Ocean Therapeutics is not based here, but Marvin is partnered with them to take mariculture or ocean-based derivatives into the pharma realm. So I'm not so sure about Sharp can tell us if this is correct. Global Earth Energy as a recycling or waste handler. Well, they do the carbon capture, carbon offsets. I didn't find anybody else. I was going to mention R3, but maybe not the best to mention. So with that, I'll hand it over to Terry of the North Carolina Biofuel Center. He's a new Eastern Regional staffer, so welcome, Terry.
All right, let's see if I can make this technology work for me. Well, first of all, basic introduction is we're trying in the of course this is going to happen right now. Excuse me. We're trying at the Biofuel Center to develop a new sector in North Carolina's economy based on liquid biofuels. That's our primary goal. I'm hired recently as a director for Eastern Military Partnerships, meaning specifically that I'm focused here in the eastern part of the state, working both with the southeastern region, regional development. My office is actually in Kinston with Eastern Region, and then with the Northeast Region of the Also, within that zone are the military bases that are the prime military bases for North Carolina, and we're looking at them as being the initial purchasers of most of our production. And the reason, of course, for that, and I haven't gone into a lot of detail, but the simple answer is they're the ones who are mandated to do it. And that goes back to that comment about not ready for prime time. Nobody, until you can make it economical, is right now has the need to go and buy biofuels. So here's what we have as far as how this got started. In about 2007, the legislature kind of looked at what was going on in the industry in North Carolina, and they realized that we have roughly 5.6, closer to 6 billion gallons of liquid fuels being utilized in the state on an annual basis, of which we were producing virtually none. Which, if you think about what that value is, that was a huge value that North Carolina was missing out on. And so we decided that, or they decided that they would start a public nonprofit, which would then search out means to pull everybody together who is actively working in the biofuels fields and find a way to start that industry and develop that sector within the state of North Carolina. So Biofuel Center now is although it says private, it's really a public nonprofit. We are entirely state funded and now on the recurring budget for the state, approximately $5 million a year. It gets spent in a lot of it in grants, a little over half of it in grants. Then the other part of it, right now we're doing a major renovation of a space that was agricultural property at one point, creating an incubator for small businesses with good ideas. That incubator has the lab space. Associated with it on the campus is the greenhouse space, and then also fields to actively grow outdoor crops and trees in if we need to. Our mission, you can see here, facilitate and support the development of sustainable biofuels industry across the state. These are the goals, and rather than go into a lot of detail about what's on there, I'm going to really focus and read what they all say, and they're basically attached to the things that the state legislature told us we had to do. The first one is really the most important because it's our measure of success as well as being a goal, and that's to create 10% of the usage of North Carolina from products and goods in North Carolina and from North Carolina companies. And that 10-year window ends in 2017, and that amount would be approximately 600 million gallons annually of liquid biofuels. So, ambitious, but possible. So what does it look like to build that sector? And this is just a quick synopsis. You need feedstocks. And right now the feedstocks are all over the place. Virtually anything can be a feedstock for cellulosic conversions. Seed oils, which most of you are more familiar with, they're like converting soy oil or canola oil, or then what the Navy's doing is camelina, that they're going to convert into diesels for their boilers on ships. All of these things can be feedstocks, as can trees, and also there are a number of energy grasses which we're looking into, and all of that is with ongoing research at the center, as well as in other places, to try and enhance the capacity of those plants to provide the cellulose that will allow us to do cellulosic conversions. The next part is you either have to use some kind of pre-treatment, either enzymatic or otherwise, and you have to have a production process that will convert whatever you've got into what you want to end up with. And what you want to end up with typically for us has included ethanol. And the cellulosic ethanols are actually competitive without the government subsidies to be able to drop in as fuels and substitutes for gasoline. There are cellulosic conversion processes presently for gasoline, jet fuels, and of course diesel. So those pretty much got the range. It's just being able to scale those up in a manner that we can do the production and still keep it at the price point that it can be competitive with petroleum. That has to be the goal. It still has to be market driven. Once you have the production done, of course you got to get it out to consumers. You'll notice there's a note in there about blending. Even if we converted every scrap of space left in North Carolina to growing things to make fuels, we still couldn't meet the entire demand of the state of North Carolina. So accompanying our growth with the biofuel sector needs to be something which we, the Biofuel Center, are not presently addressing, which will somehow diminish the demand for petroleum-based fuels. Until that happens, everything that's created as biofuels will be blended with petroleum products, and that's the goal for all the products being created, is so they can be drop-in fuels, essentially drop in with whatever else is out there, and just run through your tanks. And in theory, you should never notice that it's anything different than what you always use. So that pretty much brings us to what will be my closing slide, which is what are the advantages in North Carolina. The principal things, as you read down this list, you're going to see a lot of things that talk about agriculture. And that's really where the advantage for North Carolina lies, as it does for several other states, South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi included. We have climates and areas that are well suited for growth of agriculture and well suited for growth of trees to provide the biomass necessary to make these biofuels. Roughly 80% of the cost of biofuels is in the cost of the biomass. So if you think about that, essentially, that's the real driver for North Carolina, having a toehold in this market at least. And that's where we hope to go. And if we're successful, this should create, if we're successful and we do half of what we said we were going to do, we should create about 3,300 jobs statewide, and also create an industry that delivers roughly $1.5 billion worth of product into the state's revenue streams. And that pretty much wraps up. I left the contact information. This contact information actually for the Oxford location where the Biofuel Center is located, or my cell will get me anywhere. If you want to ask questions later, I'll be around. The other piece of this I should throw out, I suppose, is that our partnership with the regions, which is partly why I'm here, has been a great setup for us in the sense that we don't, as a group, because we're small group, about 12 people, we don't, as a group, have the business savvy to necessarily go out and do feet on the ground kind of business development. What we have is the connections with lots of different business capacity. And so our partnerships with the regions have really helped us, and that's why I'm here with the Eastern region, and of course working with Southeast region also on a couple different projects. And hopefully we'll bring that, we may in fact see the first of the biofuels production facilities coming out of Wilmington. Fingers crossed. So with that, I'll pass it to the next speaker. Thank you very much.
So next up is Zachary East of Oceana, who are advocating for offshore wind development.
So I'll start with, I'm not a business person. I'm here representing Oceana, which is actually the world's largest international oceans conservation nonprofit. It was formed in 2001, and I'm the climate and energy organizer for North Carolina, so I'm actually based here in Wilmington. So as a conservation organization, we're out to protect the world's oceans. It's our motto, actually. But we see not only protecting our oceans, but we can use energy in our oceans in a responsible way. And offshore wind is that way, and that's something that we're promoting through our advocacy work all across the country, but here specifically in North Carolina for some exciting reasons I'll talk about. So mainly this little slideshow is going to be talking about the resources we have in North Carolina for offshore wind, where we are in the process of developing it, because offshore wind doesn't exist in the United States. So that's what we'll kind of talk about here. Oh, nice little new format. They're reaching in there, so it's good. I know where I am. This is an overview. So offshore wind has existed as an industry, because it's not a new industry. It is for the United States, but it's not new for Europe. They've been doing it since 1991. And they have currently, at the end of 2010, around 3,000 megawatts, but they're expecting over 23,000 permitted and under construction. And the United Kingdom actually has just been awarded the largest offshore wind farm. And very exciting news coming out of Europe. And it's creating a lot of jobs in those regions. Currently, there's over 30,000 people employed, but they're projected to close to 300,000 in the European Union by 2030.